In today's tool review video, folks, you are looking here at the brand spanking new, hot off the presses, Dewalt Tough System 2.0 rolling tool storage system here. And so this consists of three basic pieces here. We have the large rolling toolbox here on the bottom, and then here we have the what they call the medium toolbox, and then the small toolbox. So today we're going to review all of these. We're going to compare them against my older Dewalt Tough System 1.0, and we're going to see how the two stack up next to each other, size, dimension. We're going to be drop testing these boxes here too to see how well they do. We're going to be shooting water on these guys to confirm their IP65 watertight rating. Stick around, folks, because it's going to be a bumpy road with these three. Now this video is going to be long because we're essentially doing like 3 different tool reviews in one, plus we're comparing the old with the new and doing all this fitment, and we're going through each one of these boxes with a fine-tooth comb here. So down in the video description below, we're going to put a table of contents for you to jump to any chapter you want. So we are going to be comparing all of these cases here to the old system. We're going to be checking everything from usability to weight to the wheels to the way these new latches work to see if they're any good. And we're going to help you make an informed decision as to whether or not you should buy one of these Dewalt Tough System 2.0 tool storage systems. Okay, now yesterday we polled our 80,000 subscribers, and the most common questions, the 3 questions we're getting the most here are, what's the cost? What's the fitment and compatibility between Gen 1 and Gen 2? Can I interchange the boxes on top of each other there? And then what are the dimensions? What are the sizes? How has it changed in size? So let's take a look at that right now. And also, what other brand new Dewalt Tough System 2.0 boxes are coming out as part of this rollout? So there's a big misconception here about what all's in the new Tough System 2.0 here. And what we're really looking at here is there's really only 4 new items in this new lineup here. And that is the rolling toolbox, which is essentially the extra large toolbox on wheels. So that's one. Then you have the extra large toolbox, which is this without the wheels. Then you have this one here, this is the large toolbox. And then you have this one here, and this is the small toolbox. This is it. That's the only new items in the 2.0 system here. Everything else is the same, and these will all be compatible with it. So all they changed was just the toolboxes. Okay, so let's quickly run through the pricing here. This is what I paid for it on Sunday night when I ordered this from Home Depot's website. I paid $89 here for the rolling toolbox. Paid $65 here for the medium toolbox, and I paid $45 here for the small toolbox. Now, I don't think they charged shipping. I have to go back and check. I don't think they charged me any. And by the way, don't expect any bargains anytime soon because this is a brand new product rollout. Maybe by Black Friday, I'm hoping we'll see some price reductions there. Okay, so now let's talk fitment and compatibility. This is the Gen 1 toolbox here, and we're going to see if we put it on top of the Tough System 2.0 box here, will it clamp in here on this new Auto Connect latches? So we'll just lift it up here, put it right over there. This side clicked down instantly, and check it out, this side was already down. I mean, that's how easy these latches work. So it's like, it was basically one-handed. I didn't even have to do anything on this side. And those of you that work with the Gen 1 know that you have to go walk around both sides and click those things down. So that went in easy, huh? Who's your daddy? Okay, now the next burning question is, can we get the new Tough System 2.0 to latch on top of the Gen 1? Eh? Let's try that. So of course here with Gen 1, you got to roll this one back. You have to roll this one back here. Let's put the case on top. And it does kind of fit down on top of it there. And then come around over to this side. See, even the new legs here will fit inside these indents here on the old one. And check this out, folks. I feel like Vanna White here. You have new with old with new. Playing as a one big happy family. So, survey question is, does the Tough System 2.0 system here work backwards compatible with the Gen 1? And the answer is yes. Can I get an amen, brothers? Okay, now another question that people have asked me a lot too is, hey Jeff, can we get Craftsman Versastack here to latch on top of the Dewalt Tough System 2.0? Well, let's find out. Okay, so as I look around here, it's like, no, it's not even designed to fit around this. This is up too high. It won't latch onto it. And another thing too is, look at this. See, the one thing to remember, folks, is that the Craftsman Versastack line is a 17-inch wide line of models, whereas the Dewalt Tough System is 21 inches wide. This is why I've never liked the Versastack line, because the boxes are just too small for me. Okay, so Versastack is a no-go for the Dewalt Tough System 2.0. But I want to show you an interesting twist of fate here. Now, we did a video along these lines a few months ago. I'll put a link to it down in the description, where how we were able to connect these Dewalt cases here to certain Versastack components. Okay, so these here are the Dewalt Tough Case Plus boxes. Don't confuse these with the Dewalt Tough System. It's kind of confusing because of the way they named them. But these are, you can tell these boxes because they're the ones, these are the ones that came out last year, and they have these plastic clear lids on them. So you line that up in there, and then you close the lids on the back side there, and there you have it. It's on there nice and secure. And we can do the other one over here on the other side as well. Okay, so does the Dewalt Tough Case Plus system work with Versastack? Yes! The Dewalt Tough System 2.0 Large Mobile Toolbox is model number DWST08450. It can handle 250-pound load capacity, and it's IP65 rated, and it is backwards compatible with any ToughSystem piece. This has the Auto Connect side latches, which allows us to attach other boxes on top of this with one-hand operation. The toolbox offers 20% more tool storage when we use it as a full tower with the other two pieces. The box has 8-inch wheels on it, an improvement over the Gen 1, which had 7-inch wheels. It has a wide telescopic handle, and it's a detachable handle as well. And remember, backwards compatible with the whole ToughSystem line. This Dewalt Tough System 2.0 comes with a limited lifetime warranty, and you must have the original receipt. You must be able to prove it, so save that receipt. And this warranty is not transferable to another person. Man, these new one-handed auto connect side latches here, these are a major game changer. I did not expect that. So let's see how much the ToughSystem 2.0 Small Toolbox weighs. 9 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Now let's measure the weight of the medium toolbox. And the Dewalt Tough System 2.0 medium-sized toolbox weighs in at 10 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Okay, now let's measure the weight of Bertha, the mothership. Well, we had to lay Bertha face down there, as you can see, so that we could get her to balance right on that scale and give us an accurate reading. Okay, so you can see here, here's the back of it, and it's sitting perfectly level here on the scale, because you want to be able to see clear underneath. That way it's resting solely on the scale. And survey says 15 pounds, 2.7 ounces. So if you have your Dewalt Tough System 2.0 delivered to your house, these are the size boxes they will come in. And probably if you pick them up in the store as well, they'll probably come in these boxes like this as well. Well, here you can see I've got the new set all assembled here, and I've got it side by side with my old Dewalt Tough System 1.0 set here. And you can see they look almost exactly the same size, and even, you know, the dimensions and everything. Because, as you know, and in the flyer here, they stated that this is backwards compatible with all of the old stuff here. And then, of course, on this system, I never bought the smaller case, but I did with this one here, just so I could review it. So, when you put it on here, there's about, this is the height of it here. Okay, so we're going to show you all the differences in the ergonomic design. This isn't just a prettier box. They made some really cool ergonomic features that I think you're going to like. Okay, now one great new feature that I do like about this that I'm pretty impressed with here is DeWalt's brand new patented Auto Connect side latch system. And what that is if you'll notice, they changed the way the latches are on here. You'll see that they're springy. See how they have springs attached to them, right? And I'll show you close up too, but I just want to show you from a broad view here. Toolbox down here on this end here, and you push here, see how it latched that? And you do the same thing on the other side. Just push it down. No, there you go. And that's all you have to do. Okay, so here's a close-up look of how these latches work. So see, they're springy. They have a spring load here, and they just move that much. That's all they need to move. You can see the spring right there. See how it just moves it just like that. Now if you look very closely right here, you see that L shape right there? That's the grabbing part of the latch. So this is what snaps onto the bottom of the storage toolbox when you put the next Dewalt Tough System 2.0 toolbox right down on top of this. So it's going to land on this latch. It's going to push the latch out like that. It's going to go down a little more, and then the latch will snap right over it. So let's take a look at how that works. So here you can see the latching surface right there, and it's going to stick right on here. So what you do is whatever your toolbox you're going to put down on here, you put it down and then push it, you see? Okay, now let's take a look at it again. I'm going to do it in slow motion for you. The box you just put on there has its own latch on top of it to store another box on top of this one. Okay, now watch this. In order to unlatch it here, you can just push in on the latch there and it comes right up. And you don't even have to worry about the other side because you just pull it up and out. So it's basically one-handed operation there. And put it back on. Whereas over here on the older Dewalt Tough System 1.0 system here, it's a lot more work because you have to lift up the storage box before you can set it back down again. You have to move the latch out of the way like that. You have to put the box back down, make sure it's all the way down and all the way in there and tight. And this was the part that was always a bone of contention for me. It is so hard to get that thing to snap in. I had to use a lot of finger and hand and wrist strength. So if you have weak hands or you have any kind of disabilities, weak fingers, weak hands, I would not recommend this older system. Your work's not done yet. Now you got to go back around and do the other side. Okay, so on the other side, same thing. Lift up, pull the latch out, seat the toolbox down nice and tight in there. Make sure that you have that thin gap there, right, where it comes all the way down. And again, you're putting in a lot of force. You really got to push to get that puppy over that hump. Okay, here's another nifty feature that I thought was kind of nice about this is, so you know they have this badge here showing the Tough System 2.0, but what most people don't realize is you can stick your finger into this thing here and pull it up and out and it slides up, right? And you can take this out of there and replace it with your own label. So let's say you had several boxes and you wanted to label, this one's all drills, the next box will be all saws and blades and stuff. That's a great feature to have there for that. Okay, now all of these new Tough System 2.0 lids come with this little fixture here to store your DeWalt Tool Connect tag. And that's DCE041. They're very expensive little boogers. They can be like 35, 40 bucks a piece. But they screw in here on the lid, and big contracting firms will use these to help track their inventory and determine where things are at. What I don't know though is what goes here. So another kind of interesting feature here is they're really putting the Tough System logo all over the place. So this right here is part of that rubber yellow gasket that goes all around underneath the lid here. It goes all the way around. That's what satisfies our IP65 requirement here. And so it just says Tough System right here. Okay, now on the new Dewalt Tough System 2.0 storage toolboxes here, they reverted back to only one hole here for your padlock. So let's see if we can get it to fit here. It just barely makes it, but it fits. So you get a good long neck lock here, and there you go. You gotta fight with it just a teeny bit. Okay, now here on the older DeWalt Tough System toolboxes here, you can see they had two holes. So I never really understood that. I guess some people, if they have a bigger lock, they can go through one end and then the other end here, but I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's really how you do the old ones, like that. Okay, now I've seen a lot of people ask questions about the height of this telescopic handle here. This is a point of worry for a number of people, especially if you have a pickup truck or maybe you have a tonneau cover and you want to know what's the lowest I can get this thing to go to and all that. So let's take a look at all the different sizes and dimensions we have on this here. So we're going to measure it here off the floor. And so we can see it goes to about 38.5 inches off the floor here at its max height. This is the highest point on the telescopic handle. Now let me show you something else I like about this handle. All you got to do is push the button and it drops down to the next level. At least you don't have to use any kind of force or anything. It's just automatic. So at this level here, where it's down to the middle position there, it's at 27 inches here. Okay. And I don't know if it doesn't go any further because you can see they're here at the ground already. Okay. But I have a surprise for you guys. Check this out. So as you look here on the old DeWalt Tough System set here, you had to twist this thing here and with some good tension and then pull up the telescopic handle, and you can see there's no way to remove this handle. It's pretty much stuck. You could try to pop these caps and maybe it might help, but I'm still not sure. So DeWalt solved this issue by putting these movable tabs here down at the bottom, and I'll show you close up. But essentially by pushing them in like this so they're out of the way, it makes it so that now you can pull up on the handle. There's the locking position, and then you can keep going and pull it all the way up and out. So now you're effectively removing the telescopic handle, and this is now your new height. So let's say you wanted to set everything to put it away in your pickup truck for transport. You would just go ahead and push on that latch there. See, it just comes up with one-sided unlatching is all you have to do there. And then we'll come back over here and we'll remove the second one. And you only have to do one side of it because it kind of just undoes itself from the other side. So this here right now is the new max height for your DeWalt Tough System 2.0. So let's measure that distance here now and see what we have. So we have just about 19.75 inches. So if you really want to give yourself some margin here, just call it 20 inches. So you got a 20-inch tall distance here now. And let's compare that to the old system. So let's try the same process on the old system here. Now what I hate about these is sometimes I just don't have enough strength to undo these. Sometimes I just don't, you know. So you almost always end up having to use both thumbs, two hands to undo one stupid latch with the old system. Then you have to come back and do it on the other side. Okay, so let's get him out of the way like we're putting him into the pickup truck. Okay, so we already know that this one here is 20 inches tall. So the old one, the old Tough System, is about 24.25 inches tall. So it's roughly 4 inches taller than the new system. So DeWalt did a pretty good job, I think, here of reducing that size down, and this will enable you to fit it. It should fit underneath most tonneau covers. Okay, now on this redesign here for the Dewalt Tough System 2.0 rolling toolbox here, they made an improvement here to this telescopic handle that allows you to remove it. You see how we have these two red tabs right here? And I'll show them to you close up too as well. But basically those are your stops, so that when you're trying to raise everything up here, you pull the handle up to the max position, you can hear them stopping in there. So here's a close-up view of these plastic stops, and so they're basically attached on a little spindle type thing, a center post. And what you do is when you want to move them out of the way, you turn them like that. See that? You just turn them 90 degrees so they fold sideways. So they're out of the way. They won't stick out anymore, and they won't hit the stop inside, up top in the inside the chamber there. Now the only thing about when you go to undo it, it's a lot harder to undo it and twist it back out. You have to use a lot of finger strength to get that thing to come back out. But chances are most of you probably won't be adjusting this. Only guys that go every day with a pickup truck might be adjusting that. Okay, so now continuing on with some of the nifty ergonomic changes that DeWalt added here into the Tough System 2.0 tool system here. is right here. Look at the back. So compare this back here to the original. So the original just had a completely plain Jane straight across the back there. That's all it was, just a wall there. And they have that axle, they also have that axle rod right here that just goes across there. What they've done here now is they've moved the axle rod underneath. So it's under the bottom here. They have this nice cutout here to put your foot on to give it a little kick. I really like this idea. It's a much more ergonomic usage for you if you're trying to move a heavy load. Here, let me show you. Okay, so let's say you've got a full load in here and you want to take off. Sometimes what I do is I'll put my foot up against this bar and just give it a little push there, you know, just to give it a little, like here it's not going to work. It's on a very bumpy section of my lawn here. But that's basically what you do to get it started, is you just kind of push the bar. It's not as easy to do because, you know, it's basically, you can only get your toe on and over the top of it, and that's all you can do. See, look how my foot just has nowhere to go, really. I can't get a good mechanical advantage this way. Okay, so now let's take a look at the ToughSystem 2.0 and how they solved that problem here. So remember we showed you that slanted cutout there. So now when I put my foot on it, it's not only my toes, but the whole ball of my foot, where I have much more mechanical advantage to just lift up. So remember I can push that there like that now? So I think that's gives you a little bit more momentum and a little bit more power to give this thing a jump start here. See that right there? It's the toes and it's the ball of my foot right there pushing maximum mechanical advantage. This is why you always want to have an engineer like me do these tool reviews here for you, because I notice the things that other people don't. So take a look at the telescopic handle here. Notice how it faces forward this way, right? And now let's take a look at the new design here on the ToughSystem 2.0. Okay, and now compare that here to the new one, see? So the new one is more horizontal, and I like this. I think this is more stable design, in my opinion, because see, the forces, any forces coming back this way on the handle are going to push back and spread out on a wider distance here than you would have over here, right? So I think this is a more stronger design, because it spreads out the load better than here. Here you have all of that load concentrated in this small area here, but here it spreads out further. So here's the original ToughSystem design here on the handlebar, and here is the new design here on the ToughSystem 2.0. Both ToughSystem platforms here still utilize a 5-segment metal pin hinge here. So this is the original ToughSystem hinge design here. Whereas here on the ToughSystem 2.0, they've much more evenly spaced out the 10 segments here, so it goes all the way across. Okay, so looking down the line there, you can see where the metal rod is going there. And look at those reinforcements that attach right onto the top of the toolbox right there, man. So what's interesting about the redesign here on the hinge on this ToughSystem 2.0 cart here, look at where the hinge is located. It's actually up here, it's elevated, it's flush with the top of the lid now, whereas the original ToughSystem toolbox over there, the pin is basically down an inch or two from the top of the box. And you'll see how this whole hinge mechanism comes into play here when we open the box. So you notice how the lid stays up. Okay, so watch right here where the hinge is going to open here. Watch right there. See that black plastic piece that comes down? It's going to snap into place. You can hear it. Listen. See it? There it is disengaging. And there it is engaging. Compare that to the way this toolbox opens. See, what happens is, note the back telescopic handle here. Notice how the whole thing starts to lean backwards a little bit, so that when you open the lid, even though it comes forward, it's not quite resting all the way against it, but the bottom part of it is. The bottom part of it sort of digs into this part right here. And so there's nothing like snap holding this open, but I've never had a problem with it shutting on me. The newer design, I think, is better because it does indeed click into place, see? It's hinged and it clicks right into place, see? Okay, so let's take a peek under the hood. So we'll lift it up here and it latches into place. And what you have is one big cavernous toolbox here with a handy tray here for some small hand tools. And once again, you can see here they got ToughSystem emblazoned there. And when you lift up the tray, you can see pretty clear all the way down to the bottom here. There's no obstructions. It does not come with any user guide or any manual or anything. It just comes with this little flyer here that just shows some of the other components of the system. So look at the difference in design here between the tool tray on this older ToughSystem 1.0 here compared to the 2.0. Look at this. See, this tool tray goes all the way across the interior here, whereas the new one only goes about half. Now it looks like they have all the same cutouts and fittings around this side, so you could get a second one and put it there as well. Okay, so I was looking here to see if we could rotate it too, and you can't. There's no way to, as far as I can tell, it's just not going to hold. So the minute I heard DeWalt say that this ToughSystem 2.0 is backwards compatible with all the older versions, and I knew the boxes had to be the same dimension. And I want to see what is the usable dimensions here. How much can I store in there? Because that's often a lot different here. So in this case here, as you can see, we have just under 14 inches here. That's like 13 3/4. We'll call it 14. And then the distance across, the usable distance across, because remember, there's all sorts of ribs and stuff in here. So the usable distance across here on the inside is 18 3/4 inches. So we'll call that 19. The usable depth here, 12 3/4 inches. Okay, so this ToughSystem tool tray right here, the outside diameter measures about 12.5 inches here to the other side here. But if you want to measure the inside, the usable length, you can store a tool in there that's up to 11.5 inches long. And then the outside width of it is 9 1/4 inches. And then the inside width of it is 8 1/4 inches. Okay, now the depth of this ToughSystem tool tray right here is 2 3/4 inches. Okay, some of the other mechanical changes that DeWalt made on the ToughSystem 2.0 here is if you look here at the reinforcements on the back, the ribbing here, and these isometric ribs here with these deep triangles that go into the corner. These are like nice corner supports here. Beautiful design on that. They got nice corner supports here. And then compare it to the older ToughSystem 1.0, they barely had anything and nothing going into the corners at all. See, there's your close-up shot there of your corner features. Here's the close-up here. Just very simple rib design there, nothing fancy, nothing going into the corners or anything like that. But I haven't had a problem with the design, so it must be a pretty good mechanical design. It has held up. Okay, now probably the most glaring design change that you're going to see here between the two of these here, between the original Dewalt Tough System and the new ToughSystem 2.0, is these latches here. You notice a complete, total, radical redesign of these latches. So the older latches here were all metal latches here, whereas the new ones here are plastic, probably Lexan, I would guess. And they have these wire latches going around the edge here. So let's take a closer look at them. Okay, so here's a close-up view of the original metal latch that DeWalt designed on the original Tough System here. And the way it opens is you just grab it from underneath, and it undoes up top, and it swivels back down. Now you can see it sort of is held in place by this wire. So all they did was they just made it permanent up top there and did away with the metal part here. Now whether that's going to make a difference or not, we don't know. All I know is this has always been a tried and true mechanism. Nothing beats a metal latch. Once you have this latch opened up, then your case opens, see? Let us take now a closer look at ToughSystem 2.0 latch. Okay, so it's that tough plastic here, and it operates very similar to the other one, except you just lift up the wire latch part there, and it comes down, and you do the same thing on the other side. Then you can open up the box. Okay, now I want to share with you something that's always been a bone of contention for me with this Dewalt Tough System, and that is this crazy handle thing that we have to use in order to release the telescopic handle here. So I've never really liked it, and here I'll show you why. So the problem with this is you have to use like all of your upper fingers here and your thumb down below here in order to make this thing turn here. Now, I was an electrical engineer for 10 years at Motorola. I learned a lot from my mechanical friends there, and so the problem that I see with this that happens a lot is by twisting this thing here, it digs into your hand here, see? That's the problem, because this is a sharp edge here. And I've always been taught that you should never have sharp edges like that. Things should always be like this. See how that's like a graceful 1/4 of an inch curve there, that corner, that edge. So when you start doing stuff like this, it digs into your hand. And you know, if you were to reach under the here, like here, if you want to do it right-handed now, this digs into the bottom of your thumb area here, to that tender meat. So I've never really liked it. It's not a deal breaker for me because it doesn't really happen that often. So it's only a 1/2 second. You know, you go like that and you're done. But now you come over here, the newer redesign, and they did a much better deal. See, there's no sharp corners here. They made it nice radius here. And all you gotta do is push the button. And look, watch this. I can push this button with one finger, my thumb, with any of my 5 fingers. Let me see if I can do it with my 4th. Barely. I have a weak 4th finger, and forget my 5th finger, that's even weaker. But the point is that I can do it with my thumb, okay? Whereas this other one over here, you can't do it with your thumb at all. You have to use your whole hand, the whole force of your hand. So this is the brilliance of this design. You know, is when your telescopic handle is up, all you got to do is push it with one finger. So on top of that, the mechanism that they use here is really odd. Look what it's having you do. So you're just bending this weird piece of plastic here. So that's kind of strange there. I mean, it must be a brilliant design because it's held up. It hasn't busted or anything. So at least it's a one-handed lowering as well, you know, see? But I'm glad to see they got rid of these sharp edges here. Okay, so check this out now, folks. This is the other major ergonomic change that they made. So the older ToughSystem box had this nice, thick, rugged handle, very easy to pick up and carry. It felt nice and solid and secure, right? Spring action. They've removed it now. There's no more of that handle anymore. So they have like this little cup on here that your fingers fit into, and it's ribbed underneath. So I can imagine it's probably gonna hurt a little more if you have a heavy load in here compared to this way. It's a lot easier to reach out with both hands on either side of the box and carry this like this than it is to stick your fingers under here and using just the weight bearing down on your fingers. That's gonna be a little bit painful, I would think. Let's take a look at the wheels. Okay, so this is the older wheel here on the left here. This is the original ToughSystem rolling box here. And this is the newer wheel here on the ToughSystem 2.0 toolbox. Okay, so the original wheel here, let's measure his diameter here. And we come in right around 7 inches. Okay. Then coming over here, let's measure the wheel on the Dewalt Tough System 2.0. And it comes in right at 7 7/8. Now they claim in the, I guess they rounded it up. Dewalt says it's 8 inches, but it's 7 7/8. They ripped us off. I want that 1/8 of an inch. All right, so there you've got it right there. I'm trying to see, nowhere does it even come close to 8. It's 7 7/8 at the biggest point there across. Now you can see here on the ToughSystem 2.0 wheel, it's got a rubber tread on it with nice thick wide treads, as opposed to the old Gen 1 wheel, which is just basically plastic, kind of like those big cars we used to ride in when we were kids. Now some of you may have noticed while looking at the top here of the new Dewalt Tough System 2.0 rolling toolbox here, you notice this little yellow thing here? What is that, dude? Well, if you look closely on it, first of all, you'll see their little logo on their Tough System. So like I mentioned before, they're putting their logo on just about every part of this case now. But what this does is this little thing here flips up here. And this is useful for when you have those half-size cases. So if you have one of those half cases that fills up this area right here, it would latch in over here on this side, and then this would latch in on the other side of it to hold it down. And then likewise, you could put another half case on this side as well. Okay, now I want to show you something here that was always kind of a minor annoyance for me here with the original Dewalt Tough System rolling toolbox here, and that is, look at this handle. See how the whole telescopic handle here just rattles and back and forth? I mean, it's a huge amount of sway there, right? And so even though it's mechanically sound, it's not going anywhere, it's never given me a problem. It just gives me an uneasy feeling when I start rolling with it sometimes and it starts wiggling like that, you know. If you have sensory issues to that kind of thing, it might bother you. So here, take a look at it from the angle here, why it's wiggling. It's actually, technically it's rotating. So see how the bottom metal parts here, how they come out of the bottom? Take a closer look. See how it rotates there? And that's because, see where it exits out of the bottom of this channel here, the chamber that's holding the telescopic arm in place here, it's too wide. The opening is too wide, so it's allowing it to rotate at the bottom. And that's the problem here. So that's why we're getting all of this movement that we should not be getting here. Okay, so now coming over here to the new Dewalt Tough System 2.0, look at this. Very little, just very little wiggling at all. Not enough to cause a problem. And the reason why is I think it's held into the channel better here because the channel is more tight. So these two vertical risers are held much tighter inside the channel than they were on the original Tough System. So let's open up the small toolbox. Let's see what's under the hood. 3 compartment containers here that are nice and deep, and then room in here to store probably just hand tools, maybe a drill. So I've got my DCD996, and you can see that yes, it does indeed fit in there nicely. Not with the battery on though. So now here I have my impact driver. This is the DCF887. And by the way, both of these two came in that kit that I told you about during my walkthroughs before Father's Day here at Home Depot. And if you guys didn't get that kit with these 2 drills in it and the fast charger and the bag for $279, man, you missed out because that was a heck of a deal. All right, so this won't fit in there like that with the battery on. Let me see if I take the battery off. Yeah, if I take the battery off, it's fine. And I'll put it here, and I'll put my flexible battery here. Let's see if it can fit in there and close. Yeah, no problem at all. And then we'll see if they're wobbling around in there a little bit. Nothing big. That's fine. Or what I could do with this case later on is get these out of here. I don't know if I'm going to use these or not, but I can get that Kaizen foam. You know, where you stick it in here, you got the driver there and the other driver there, charger in the middle. Okay, so let's take a look here. A little storage bin that they give you inside this. There's 2 of these. And each one of these measures exactly 12 inches across. If I take the wide part here, it's about 5.5 inches deep. And it looks to be about 4 3/4 inches tall. And it's just a plastic snap on the front here like that. You just lift it up. And then flipping it around to the back here, you can see these are just the plastic hinges. So when you open it up, you have these little compartments here. Now these are removable, so you can put even more tools in here if you wanted to just move these out of the way. So you can control how big these compartments are, anywhere from 4 inches to 8 inches to 12 inches all the way across. Kind of interesting that they made the bottom of the box. Look at the shape of it here. You see the shape here? So they made the bottom of the box as kind of like a hexagon shape. So it will stand flat like that, but it will also rock a little bit. Okay, so everything else that you see here, all of the other mechanical features on this Tough System 2.0 small toolbox right here is identical to the features that you will see on the other 2 boxes. Mainly the auto connect side latches here, these guys, same thing. The pop-up center piece here that allows you to latch on the half cases that you might want to put on top. The removable, that's what I call it, the marquee. The same type of latches. Those things really shut with some force too, man. Holy cow. Okay, watch this. Once you get past this equilibrium point right here, it just takes off. Boom! I wouldn't want to get my fingers caught behind there. Oh, 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 oh. All right, now when you lift it up and look at the bottom, it has the same 4 little miniature stubby legs here. See, these 4. And these are made to fit in the grooves that are on top. So those bottom legs line up right here. See these 4 locations here? So that allows you to line them up and everything before you snap them into place into these auto connect side latches here. Okay, now let's concentrate on the hinge here, because watch what happens here. You see right here, there's a mechanical feature and another one here, and listen. You hear that little kind of a click? So once you get it up above the vertical position, the lid will stay open by itself. It won't close. See, look, you can bounce it around a little. The wind is not even going to close this lid until you give it enough force with your hand here to, see that? You hear that? Now here's the hinge viewed from the back. And look at these giant fins. This thing reminds me of a heat sink, you know, look at the support. And so these hinges are very similar to the 5-segment hinges we showed you earlier on the older box. So at least on this box, they've stuck with the older 5-segment design that's split in the middle. Whereas the bigger box that we just showed you, that one, the hinge went all the way across. Now I don't know why they ventured from that on this particular box here. Still feels like a solid design, but we'll find out when we go to do the drop tests. Oh, yes we will, folks. My drop tests will root out the bad tools. And of course it's got places here for the other parts that screw in. And it has the massive IP65 rated gasket going all the way around that should keep water from getting inside this case. And we'll find out if that works once we go to do the water testing. Medium-sized toolbox didn't fare so well on that drop test. See how it had that crack right here? And it's got some massive scrapes here and another crack here along the side. See that? And a little bit of scuffing here and here. And then in the same place on the other side here. So you know what that means, don't you? This is probably going to fail the water test because look at that. See, it's just too much. So if I lift up our lid here and see, I mean, everything else seems to be intact inside. The gasket's still intact, but this crack here, the water's just going to get in through this. I might have to buy a new one and replace this guy. I'll see if I can just live with it like that. Well, I definitely took one for the team, folks. Okay, so the two boxes have the same dimension here across the front. See, 21 inches there and 21 inches there, which they would pretty much have to be in order for it to be backwards compatible, right? But check out the side view here. So here you can see the new ToughSystem 2.0 right here sticks out maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches more. So that's probably where you're getting some of that 20% extra space that they're talking about. Now, if you remember, the ToughSystem Gen 1 had this air valve here in the middle, this little knob here. The newer Dewalt ToughSystem 2.0 does not have that because in the middle here, it has this latch adapter here to use the half-sized cases on the top. Let's take a look inside the ToughSystem 2.0 medium-sized toolbox here. And you can see that this toolbox has the exact same tray that comes out of the bigger rolling cart. So you can remove that tray there, see? You can also interchange the trays to do that, which is kind of nice if you need to have a few more parts and smaller hand tools up top. And there's what it looks like down and deep. You can see here there's slots here for you to put partitions in if you want to compartmentalize things. So if you look at the two medium tool cases side by side here, the ToughSystem 2.0 has a usable space across of about 19¼ inches. So you can see how they've removed a lot of the ribs that were protruding in here and taking up valuable space here. So here, if I measure from usable space from rib to rib, I'm only getting 18½ inches. So they gained an extra 3/4 inch here just by reducing the ribs. See, but there's trade-offs in life, folks, because in doing that, something had to give. Because now, this is the old tray from my old rolling unit. So see how I can't use the tray now because they removed some of the ribs that had these support curves right on top of them. See that? So this one will fit in there and it'll sit in there, no problem, but not in the newer one. You'll notice here, I cannot take the tray out of here, the new one, and put it into the Gen 1 because the new one, remember, is 1.5 inches wider to the back. The new ToughSystem 2.0, as you can tell, is just about 1 inch taller. So you can see everywhere they could, they squeaked out a teeny bit more of space here. I want to see his usable height here. So to me, his usable height is right around 10 inches here. Now if we come over here to the old box, here, the Gen 1, the usable height is 9 inches. Say hello to my little friend. Up the lid there, we see a few droplets came down, but it might be just because it's running down from after the fact now. And then you can see down at the bottom there just a couple of droplets, but again, these are probably the ones that just fell off when we opened up the lid. Okay, so here's something I wanted to show you here. Strange on the lid here of the ToughSystem 2.0. You can see all the grid marks here from the reinforcement underneath on the backside. So these are like mold marks here, which is kind of odd. The old one doesn't really have it. You can maybe barely almost make out 1 or 2 of the diagonal lines there. So this is typical of Keter, even on their table here, where you can see the lines. So that's the back side of the structure underneath. Can we put the old Gen 1 rolling toolbox here on top of the new one? And no, it doesn't latch down. It will sit on top of it. I mean, you can certainly roll it away like that. Okay, so here's our stack with some old and some new on here, and let's let it roll. Okay, so now we're going to try pushing it across the grass. Seems to be not too bad. Keep in mind, I've only got a load in one box in here. Okay, now here's a really bumpy section coming up right here. So the 8-inch wheel seems to do okay on it. Well, we hope you're finding this video informational so far, and I hope we've given you enough data here to help you determine whether or not you should upgrade to the ToughSystem 2.0 here. And if you're liking this video, do us a favor, would you please give us a thumbs up down below? Just click on that like button down there that tells us that you like us. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hey, why not? You see all the types of incredible videos we put out for you, and all of the home remodeling videos and the engineering disasters and the tool reviews and the shop with me's and the big box stores. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click on that subscribe button down below and then click that little gray bell icon next to it. That tells YouTube to alert you every time we upload a video or go live. That way you'll never miss one. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.